All right, 5:30 on the dot. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Crystal Jones and I'm the director at the Department of Arts and Culture with the City of San Antonio. And we're so excited that you're joining us here today for a very important conversation, a conversation that is going to kick off the start of our 2022 to 2027 public art bond projects. You're going to hear today from members of our public art team here at the Department of Arts and Culture about the importance of resident and community feedback when it comes to our public art program, and also how you can get involved in the 2022 bond program and public art opportunities. Our department is really proud to work alongside the art community and also the community at large to make sure that we're providing opportunities for the creation of art and also the experience and accessibility of art. And as you'll see through this presentation, we heavily rely on community feedback through the lifespan of our projects. And that's why you being here with us today is so very important. With you being here, and also we're recording this so that you can watch this later and share with friends. But we also hope that you share the rest of our community feedback and engagement series in this series talking about public art as a part of the 2022 to 2027 bond. We're kicking it off tonight with this virtual WebEx. And again, we'll record this and we'll put it on our website for future viewing. But there's also opportunities to meet our team in person and to meet other residents in person that are really excited and engaged in public art. You can see the list of these meetings here on the screen. They will be coming up on August 16th. We'll be covering opportunities for districts 1 and 3 at the McCreeless Library at 5:30 p.m. And districts 4 through 7 will be talked about on August 30th, again a Tuesday, at 5:30 p.m. at the Great Northwest Library. On September 17th, it's a Saturday, so that we can accommodate some, weekend residents, people who may be working during the weekdays. We'll be talking about districts 8 through 10. And at 10 a.m., it'll be at the Encino Library. And then again, we'll finish on September 27th with a virtual WebEx at 5:30 p.m. I do want to note that these meetings will talk, you can see that they're kind of splitting up districts, but you even if you don't live in a district, we are excited to hear from you about where you'd like to see public art, because we know that as residents, we're visiting many different districts. And also our team is there to answer any questions about the bond process at any one of these meetings. So without further ado, I'm really gonna, we have a really jam-packed schedule today with this presentation. So I am gonna go ahead and get this process started by kicking off the microphone to Veronica Ripple. She's our public art programs manager and leading our fantastic public art team. And she's gonna go ahead and start this presentation. And again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Crystal, for the introduction. And as Crystal said, my name is Veronica Ripple, and I manage the Public Art Division. This is the agenda for this evening. First, we will talk about how the art component comes in play in relationship to the bond infrastructure projects. We will also have a brief public art review of the public art in San Antonio and projects we have worked during the bond 2017. Next, we will walk you through the survey process, how you can access them and fill them out so you can voice your opinion. After that, we will show the list of infrastructure bond projects per district that are candidates to receive a public art project. We will end our presentation with time for questions that you may have. We want to hear everything that you have in mind and all your opinions. And I will ask that you save these questions for the end of the presentation. I will now introduce my colleague, Kimberly Mireles, Public Art Manager, so she can talk about what is public art.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Veronica, for that introduction. My name is Kimberly Mireles. I am the Public Art Manager for the Department of Arts and Culture. And as Veronica mentioned, before we get into the nitty-gritty of everything, we want to give you an overview of public art for the city of San Antonio. For those of you who don't know, the Department of Arts and Culture defines public art as art in a public place that's been through a public engagement process to determine where the art will be placed and what will be the inspiration and themes for the art. We'll show you some examples of public art a little later on as well. Every project is approved by our San Antonio Arts Commission and is managed by a public art project manager, and it's paid for with public funds. Tonight we're discussing the 2022 bond. We're excited to be here tonight as we're in the beginning stages of developing public art projects for the 2022-2027 bond, and we need your help. So your excitement and participation drives our work moving forward. We're really happy to have you. So every public art project our department manages goes through an extensive process where we check in with the community and different stakeholders. As you can see, our process is driven by the community in nearly every phase. We can't create projects without you, and we always appreciate your support and input. It's really you guys, the public, that determines which bond infrastructure projects we will include, which projects will include public art. And then once we have that list, we'll do specific engagement, as you see here, for those projects. We check in with you along every step of the way through the individual projects, through design, and then after fabrication and installation are complete, we all come together and celebrate a great new artwork that adds a new voice and perspective to San Antonio. So now that you have an overview of the City of San Antonio's public art process, I want to welcome back Veronica, who's going to talk to us about why we're here tonight and give you a little more detail about this bond.
Thank you, Kimberly. In this slide, we will talk about how public art comes to play in relationship to the bond program. The community voted in May 7th of this year to pass a $1.2 billion bond package. This package has 182 infrastructure projects that are, some of them are new projects and some of them are maintenance projects. These projects will be done in the 10 city districts, and for reference, if you're interested in reviewing these projects, we will place on the chat the link to the virtual book that has all the details for these 182 projects. From this package, public art received 1.5% of the funds, which translates into $15.7 million. Tonight, we are presenting to the community a selection of 60 infrastructure projects that are candidates to receive a public art piece. We will have 6 projects per district, and we work very closely with Public Works and the council offices to select those projects. What does it mean that a project is candidate to receive art? The criteria is public art needs to be feasible, which means we can construct it in the site where the infrastructure is located. It also needs to be visible to the public, has to have a meaningful impact in the community, and we prefer to do projects in locations that have not previously received public art projects in other bonds. From the 60 projects, we are asking you, the community, to rank in order of preference in what locations you would like to see public art, so we can then narrow to 45 infrastructure projects where we can do a public art project. Now we're going to go back to Kimberly so she can show us examples of projects we have done in the 2017 bond.
Thanks, Veronica, and hello again. As Veronica mentioned, public art is included in 5 propositions: streets, parks, drainage, library and cultural facilities, and public safety facilities. You'll notice this table has each proposition color-coded, and as we move through the presentation, we've color-coded each project with their proposition for easier identification. I also wanted to mention, and Veronica touched on this, that we work with Public Works before starting the art portion of a project to reserve a spot where the public art will be installed along a street or drainage area or within a park or facility. And this happens following project initiation. So before we move into more detail about the 2022 projects, we first wanted to give you an idea of what art within each of these propositions could look like with some examples from the 2017 bond. Now, some of them you'll see are finished and you can go out and visit, and we encourage you to do so. And some you'll see some renderings for which artworks haven't been finished yet, but will be soon. Our first example of a streets project is a new project you're getting a sneak peek of. This project honors labor's history and legacy in San Antonio, and this project is titled Labor Plaza. Next is another sneak peek at a mural to be installed in the near future, which spotlights women's roles and invites people into Market Square Farmers Market to discover the many treasures found there. This mural is titled The Spirit Within. Moving on to some examples of what artwork could look like within a drainage proposition. This is a rendering of an artwork titled Poet's Point, which will soon be complete along Ceiling Channel. The great thing about this project is it incorporates the artwork and poetry of almost a dozen artists and poets within District 7. Next is Bloom, and this location in McAllister Park is an excellent example of a drainage project and was so welcomed by residents that we started planting these sculptures of native wildflowers all across the city. Moving on to artwork in parks. This is a sculpture in MLK Park, which honors the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. This is Spheres of Reflection. And our second example of a project in a parks proposition project is one, pictured here is one of several artworks at Comanche Lookout Park, which speaks to Pan-Indian history. Moving into facilities projects, this is an example of this is a rendering of a digital concept at the Greater Love Community Center. This mural will be installed inside the facility for all those to enjoy. And our final example of a facilities project is a mural to be installed at the Zernona Black Center. This mural honors the life of the namesake of the center, Zernona Black. So this is our last example of how public art could look like within each proposition. If we whet your appetite a little bit, we have a digital map on our website, which has every City of San Antonio public art project listed and mapped so you can discover art in your neighborhood and across the city. So now that we've looked into our past a little bit, we want to look forward. So we're here tonight to get your input in deciding the future of public art. And with that in mind, I would like to introduce Alyssa Franklin, who is going to tell us how your voice can be heard.
Hi, Kimberly. Thank you for the introduction. As Kimberly mentioned, now that we've learned about past and current projects that are in the works or have already been completed, I'd like to share how you all can participate and have a say in our upcoming public art projects. We have a series of district-specific surveys where you can share your input to determine where you would like public art projects in your district. You can do this by visiting our SA Speak Up website to take the surveys. The link on this slide allows you to navigate to our public art opportunities in the 2022-2027 bond homepage. That link was also just posted in the chat. There are 10 surveys, one for each city council district. The surveys are all available in English and Spanish. We are also accepting email feedback via the publicart@sanantonio.gov email address. The window to take the surveys and email feedback will remain open until September 30th of 2022. We encourage you to participate in whichever surveys you would like to. As residents of San Antonio, your opinions are valued, and we understand you experience different districts of the city based on where you live, work, study, and spend your free time. If you aren't sure which of these districts these locations are in, you can use the Find My Council Member link, which I am posting in the chat right now as I speak. And you just plug in your address using that link, and you're able to find out what council district a specific address in the city is associated with. Next slide, please. When you visit the homepage for this engagement series, you'll see this page. As you scroll down, you'll see each of the meetings associated with the series in chronological order. Scroll past the meetings and you'll find the district-specific surveys. Next slide, please. We have 10 surveys, one for each district. Scroll Scroll to the district you would like to complete a survey for and click on the blue Participate button for the district to take the survey. Next slide, please. After clicking Participate, you'll be in the survey. Scroll to question 1 to begin. Question 1 contains 6 options for proposed public art locations in that district. We ask that you rank these options in order of preference, the first being the most preferred. We also ask that you please rank all of these options. Question 2 allows you the opportunity to share a theme that you would like to see represented in the public art in your district. After these first 2 questions, there's a series of optional demographic questions. You're not required to answer the questions in this section. However, any information you would like to share helps us better understand who we are reaching in the community and improve our efforts to ensure all voices are heard. To ensure your survey response is recorded and your voice is heard in this way, don't forget to click the Submit Survey button at the very bottom of the page. I'll now pass the mic over to Jordan Petrius, Public Art Project Manager. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jordan Petrius, and like Alyssa mentioned, I am one of the public art project managers on the team. As I move through this next section, I will show 6 bond infrastructure projects within each of the 10 city council districts that are candidate for public art. To find out more information on the specific bond infrastructure projects, please visit the 2022 bond website. The link will be posted in the chat. If you have any questions about the bond infrastructure projects, please contact the Public Works Department. Out of the projects for District 1, we have 2 streets, 1 drainage, 1 parks, 1 library and cultural facilities, and 1 public safety. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 1 are the Central Library renovation, East Side area streets, Elmira area drainage, Fire Station number 10 replacement, Hemisphere Boulevard, and San Pedro Springs Park. Next slide, please. Next, we have the projects from District 2. We have 1 street, 1 drainage, 2 parks, and 2 library and cultural facilities. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 2 are the Carver Branch Library renovation, District 2 F Streets reconstruction, Ella Austin Community Center renovation, Lockwood and Dignity Park, Almost Basin Park, and Peggy Drive area drainage. Next slide, please. In District 3, we have 2 streets, 1 drainage, 1 park, 1 library and cultural facility, and 1 public safety. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 3 are Brookside Outfall, Harlandale Park, a new police substation, Roosevelt Avenue, Sydney Brooks Drive, and World Heritage Center improvements. Next slide, please. In District 4, we have 3 streets and 3 parks. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 4 are Bynum Avenue, Medina River Natural Area, Millers Pond Park, Pearsall Park, Port San Antonio area streets, and Watson Road. Next slide, please. In District 5, we have 1 street, 1 drainage, 2 parks, 1 library and cultural facility, and 1 public safety. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 5 are Cassiano Park, Fire Station number 33 facility replacement, Frio City Road outfall, Las Palmas Branch Library, New Region Park and Normile Park expansion, and Probant Street. In District 6, we have 4 streets, 1 drainage, and 1 library and cultural facility. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 6 are animal care facilities improvements, intersection improvements, pedestrian mobility, Lower French Creek drainage, Marbach Road area, and Military Drive. Next slide. In District 7, we have 4 streets, 1 drainage, and 1 park. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 7 are Culebra Road, District 7 F Streets reconstruction, neighborhood sidewalk improvements, pedestrian mobility, Gilbert Garza Park, and ceiling channel drainage. In District 8, we have 5 streets, 1 park, and the bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 8 are Babcock Road, pedestrian mobility, Floyd Curl Drive, New Medical Center Area Park, Vance Jackson Road, Wurzbach Road at Vance Jackson. In District 9, we have 4 streets, 1 drainage, and 2 parks. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art in District 9 are the Clayson Stubing Ranch Park, pedestrian mobility, Evans Road drainage, Evans Road, perennial area streets, and Walker Ranch. Next slide, please. Finally, in District 10, we have 2 streets, 2 drainage, and 2 parks. The bond infrastructure projects that are candidates for public art in District 10 are Bulverde Road, Clayson Road, Eisenhower Road, Friesenhan Park, and Lady Bird Johnson Park. This has concluded the bond infrastructure projects that are candidate for public art. As a reminder, here are the upcoming dates for our meetings. If you could not attend this live or have friends and neighbors who are not able to make it, please share these dates. If you are listening in live and you would like to attend an in-person meeting, we look forward to seeing you there. Next slide, please. To give you an idea of the next steps that we have moving forward, we will collect and analyze your input and survey results by October 2022. This winter, we will take the selected shortlist of projects to City Council for approval. In January 2023, we will take the first round of projects for project initiation approval from our Public Art Committee. Thank you for joining us tonight, as we cannot move forward without your help. We will now begin the question and answer session. You can chat directly with the Department of Arts and Culture by using the chat function at the bottom of your screen. Please click the chat button at the bottom right corner of your screen and click all panelists so that we can see your questions. We will do our best to respond to your questions before the end of this meeting. If we do not address your questions before the end of this meeting, we will follow up afterwards. As a friendly reminder, the chat in this meeting will be part of public record and it's open to everyone. We ask that you use the essay Speak Up Guiding Principles for conversation that is meaningful, transparent, respectful, and inclusive, and that you refrain from using profanity. If you have called into this presentation on your phone and you are not able to view the presentation, there will be a moment of silence while we wait for the questions to start coming in.
Thank you, Jordan. So now we are moving into the questions section, and we would like to know any questions you may have about how you can complete the surveys, or if you have any theme suggestions for any of these projects that potentially can be selected for a public art project. We will give you a few minutes and hopefully we can start the questions coming.
Okay, Veronica, I see that we have some questions coming in, so I will begin reading them off to you. The first question that we have tonight is, how is art budget spent at park, bridge, etc. allocated? For example, areas within another funding source.
So each proposition has 1.5% of the proposition allocated to public art, and depending on the total budget of that proposition, we will take that number into different, let's say, a certain numbers of projects for parks or for streets or for drainage.
We have another question. Are these locations the only available areas for public art?
These are the locations that were selected by working with Public Works and the council office. We have 182 projects, but not all of them are candidates because of the criteria I mentioned before. It needs to be feasible. We need to be able to construct a project in the area. It needs to be in proximity to the proposition, the project that the proposition belongs to. It needs to be visible, and it also needs to not have received a public art project before. So these are the 60 best options we could select with our partners.
And there was a similar question that I think you responded with that one, which was, are we limited to the 6 projects in each district? The next question that we have is, will this video be available via email?
Will this city be, I'm sorry, Jen?
Will this video be available via email?
We will have this video posted on our website, and you can see it any moment you want, or you want to share it with your family or your friends. We will share the link. It's in our website for the Arts and Culture Department.
Next, we have a comment that was received, and this comment says, would like to see themes about flora and fauna native to San Antonio.
Thank you. That is an amazing theme, and definitely that very matching to San Antonio. We have so many beautiful parks and plants and flora and fauna, so we definitely will take that in consideration.
We have another question. Are there areas the city has targeted for mass public art displays? For example, Southtown Tech Block, like Deep Ellum in Dallas or Wynwood in Miami?
I think at this point, we have to be in proximity or on site of the project. Any project we do has to be allocated to the project for the funds coming from.
That is all the questions and comments that we have so far, but thank you all. Please keep it coming. We love to have this dialogue. So if you have any other thoughts you'd like to share, please do so. We have another question. Will the public art represent work by local area artists? What is the process to selecting an artist?
Address that question?
We have another question. Can a permanent installation include any of the performing arts as well?
Kimberly, do you want to address the question about local artists for these projects?
Sure. Sorry, didn't catch you there. So when it comes to artist selection, we work through our pre-qualified list. So if you're an artist, or if you have friends who are artists or know of good artists, please encourage them to follow our newsletter or follow us on social media, and we'll have that pre-qualified list up. We select a short list of artists based on what the community feedback is. So once we get to the project specific feedback, we talk about themes, and so we look at artists who do artwork in those themes that the community wants. We do try to prioritize local artists, and even sometimes this bond we were able to have district artists from the district the project is in do the artwork. So it's been really fun to involve the district specific artists and all the local artists. And we always encourage, we're always looking for new voices and perspectives. So please reach out to us if you're an artist, and we can give you information on the pre-qualified list.
I'm sorry, Jordan, can you repeat the other question?
Yes, the other question was, can a permanent installation include any of the performing arts as well?
How do you want to address
Veronica, you phased out. I can take that one. So because of the bond parameters and legal parameters of a bond, we have to capitalize an art project. So that means it has to last for at least 30 years and hopefully beyond, because we work to make our public art last well beyond the 30 years. And it has to be available to the public at any time of day, in terms of it needs to be visible at any time of day. So therefore, performing arts legally cannot be a eligible use of bond funding. It has to be a project that can be capitalized as an infrastructure project. So we do have other mechanisms to help performing artists, and we encourage you to go to sanantonio.gov/arts to find out about our individual artist grants and performing arts grants.
We have another question. How do we propose art for public art?
Have we proposed art?
How do we propose art for public art?
Through your filling out the surveys. If you give us the themes that we want, that we can potentially do in these projects, that is a way to participate in what do you want to see represented in the city. This is just one piece of the many community engagements we do throughout the year. For every project we do, we have a community engagement meeting that we ask the opinion in terms of themes, in terms of colors, palettes, materials. So pay attention to our meetings and our invites, because we do this throughout the year for different projects throughout the city. And this is your projects, this is your city, and we want you to have a voice about what type of art you want to see.
And if you're an artist who wants to propose a public artwork, because we do all our work through community engagement, the first step is to get on that pre-qualified list to apply for that. And then an artist selection panel will review artists for each project that we do and select an artist, and then design will come from there based on that community feedback.
Next question. Is there a public-private mechanism for public art?
We have been working with private entities in terms of how they can approach working with specifically San Antonio artists. Our goal is always to support and to promote San Antonio artists, and they reach out to us in terms of what's our process, which is a very transparent process, and it's a very, and we follow it very rigorously. So we work with private developers, and we are always giving them ideas and processes to follow what we do with our artists here in San Antonio.
This is a similar question, kind of a follow-up. Can an art project be done in partnership with a local organization or nonprofit?
Yes, and that happens throughout the year. A lot of organizations reach out to us, like for example, Centro, and we try to partner them with, again, artists from San Antonio that can work with them in terms of what's the vision, what's the budget, and we try to make those connections for our artist community.
We have one more question. How much are they paid? Are we overpaying a hand-picked group of artists who are friends of city employees and city council members?
So we base our payments on, basically, we want our artists to make it's a livable wage. We pay them as we will pay an architect or an engineer. We want to be able to promote art and artists and pay them as the professionals they are.
Oh, and this is Crystal speaking. I want to address the second portion of that question. As Kimberly mentioned with the artist selection panel, that artist selection panel is made up of key stakeholders from a district where the public art piece will reside. This includes neighborhood association members, residents, business owners. And so that artist selection panel are the people who select the artist. And therefore, there is no relationship that is needed between a city council member or a city employee, because it is truly art selected by the community for the community, including the artist selection.
And I don't see any more questions or comments.
I did see one question about someone who would like to do a mural on a specific location that might not be part of the bond, and maybe they want to do the mural. We are available. You can reach out to us via the email, the publicart@sanantonio.gov email. We are happy to work with individual artists who have ideas for public art and connect with private property owners. If you are interested in a specific area for an art piece of your own, and we're happy to share our processes as well as certain approvals that may need to happen in terms of an area that's located within a historic district.
Thank you. And we did actually get another question. With the proliferation of murals already saturating many areas that are on private property, what is the relationship with those private commissions? Is there a communication flow since those entities aren't bound to a solid criteria defined by your city and your department? So the first part of that, again, is with the proliferation of murals already saturating many areas on private property, what is the relationship with those private commissions?
I can take that one. So if you are a private property owner in San Antonio, as long as you own the property, you can put up whatever public art piece that you have. If it is on a historic building or at a historic location, you do need to go through the Office of Historic Preservation for a certificate of appropriateness. Otherwise, there are private property owner rights as a part of Texas. So you can put a piece of art on your property without going through this department. I will say that there are entities like San Antonio Cultural Arts, like Centro San Antonio, that are doing business and doing murals with private property owners. And of course, because we work with those entities as a partnership and just because we like to keep the communication flowing, we like to help local artists, we will be made aware if there's a mural going up just on a courtesy basis. But the department, because of the processes and because of legal rights provided to private property owners, there is no oversight by the San Antonio Arts Commission.
Another question, what other things do you have in place to educate our public so that they do not make assumptions about the process?
What we really would like to see is a lot of participation, not just through the next 3 months that we're going to be working on the bond, but also for the next 5 years. These projects are really going to be our portfolio for the next 5 years, and we want everybody to be involved through the process of from selecting a theme, from selecting the artist, from deciding if you like the concepts, and that's really what we want to see, participation for the next 5 years, that educating, obviously, the community on how they can reach out and how they do have a voice on what they want to see in San Antonio.
We have a comment that Dallas got AT&T to sponsor their new downtown park with giant public art displays.
That's a great opportunity, a great example of private investment. Of course, we are a government entity, and we do feel that there's many prongs to having a strong arts community, and that does include private investment. We have found that there are more private entities that are very interested in bringing art to San Antonio, especially with the pandemic and small business owners and business owners in general trying to get people back in their doors. They've really been looking to the arts community to do that, whether it's a mural, whether it's a sculpture, or whether it's even a performing artist being available in the space. So we are always here to have those conversations if you know any private entities that are interested in engaging in the arts and engaging with local artists. And if you are a local artist, we do have a number of resources at sanantonio.gov/arts so that you can be fined by these entities. We do have a San Antonio Artist Registry that everyone who is an artist should be listed. It's free to be listed. And businesses are using that registry at all times to find artists. Even conventions that come to town are searching for national anthem singers. So I really encourage you to check out our website and our resources, and we're happy to take questions when you contact us at that publicart@sanantonio.gov or at arts@sanantonio.gov.
Another question, do we have any sponsorship opportunities in the pipeline to offset the costs?
At this time, our public art process really follows capital improvement bond money. Because of the nature of the size of our team and the way that we are funded, we are solely focused on using the funds that we have allocated through the capital improvements program to make sure that we are getting projects done through a 5-year period. I know 5 years sounds like a long time, but it is not in the lifespan of a public art project. And so this team is very busy making sure these public art projects happen on time and in a meaningful way that meets the community needs. But again, there are a number of entities that work on sponsorship opportunities to make murals and public art happen that do not have to follow the rigorous process that we do. And we're happy to make those connections so that you can help make art happen as well.
We have another comment that the Bishop Arts District in Dallas has done a really good job with placemaking, mural art in alleys, Instagram photo ops on fake horse statues, etc.
I think one of the attendees has given me a reason to make a trip back to Dallas. I do agree. I love these ideas because I do encourage you to, as Kimberly said, to go to sanantonio.gov/arts to take a look at our public art map. We do have over 600 pieces of public art in our collection, and we are very excited to add more. And we are really excited about the private investment that's happening in arts that we haven't really seen in the past. So we hope that the next time we have these meetings, will be, or when Dallas has their meetings, they're talking about San Antonio's art. But thank you. We'll be doing more research because we really want this public art program to work for San Antonio and to also establish us as a public art destination. And it's with your help that we can do that.
Thank you. I see no more questions or comments.
If we don't have any more questions, I want to thank everybody for your participation and keep looking at our events, our next meetings. Please fill out the surveys. We need your input. We need your participation in order to be able to do beautiful projects in the next 5 years that we're very excited about. That's it.